Now, I'm not exactly sure how Miss Shakita meant this comment, but our ancestors did have hope. And that it was their downfall for most of them, is this hope to which they were carried, this hope that they believed in, this hope that allowed them, and we see it as a strength that allowed them to survive the atrocities of the transatlantic slave trade, the trans-Sahara slave trade, the colonization of Africa, the colonizations of the Americas, and the enslavement of the African in the Americas. This sense of hope is what was more damaging to them than it benefited them. True, I often speak about that I take pride in the fact that my ancestors did survive through this situation. But at the same time, I find it interesting. Not interesting, that's not the right word. I find it sad that they believed and had hope in the same God to which the ones who were persecuting them were also believing and having hope for. As a matter of fact, I would say that they didn't necessarily have hope. They were acquiring, they were gaining, they were doing the oppressing. They did have very little to hope for, as they were quite often in a position of receiving, whereas our ancestors were in the process of being taken from, whether they are the indigenous ancestors or the ancestors from Africa. They were in the process of being taken from in most cases. The time frames where you can see that our ancestors strive without this hope, just to name a few, one would be things like Nat Turner. He stopped having this hope and living for this hope and decided that he was going to take action. And he took action. And although he still took that action based on the same writings to which that his oppressors were utilizing, the fact remains that hope wasn't the thing that he was thinking about. He was thinking about having it right now. He wasn't concerned about hoping that things change. He was making things change. Ultimately, he strategically failed. But then we have things like the Gullah Wars. In the Gullah Wars, they did not have hope. They were determined to maintain their lands. They were determined to maintain their freedom. They were determined that they were going to live or die, but they were going to live or die standing and fighting, not hoping. And the only successful slave revolt that actually happened, that was continuous up until today, was the 1804 revolution in Haiti, where they put down the gods of their oppressors and returned to the gods of their ancestors. And instead of having hope, they took up arms and defeated their oppressors and created their own nation. Now the world came back and punished them, but they've been able to maintain their freedom. They've been standing on their freedom for over 200 years. Now, there are other instances that we can pick out. If you study South American history, you'll find that for 80 years, there were kingdoms in Brazil, in the Amazon, where slaves escaped, stopped waiting for hope, escaped, left, and formed communities in the Amazon, some lasting up to 80 years. But they gave up hope and instead went for determination of manifesting what they desired, what they was going to have in their lives right now, in the right now. Harriet Tubman was about that right now life. She wasn't about that hope life. See, Frederick Douglass was about that hope life, even though he was taking actions to try to help, but he was hoping that the oppressors would listen to him. Harriet was like, I don't give a damn about you listening to me. I'm gonna do what I do. Josiah Henson, when he finally got the message, finally realized that hoping for the goodness of his master was going to allow him to buy his freedom, finally decided, hell to the no. I'm getting out of here. I'm determining to make a change. When I was growing up, there was apartheid in South Africa. It was a big deal. And as much as we screamed in America, it wasn't until the younger generation in South Africa, while Mandela was in jail, that younger generation decided that they had enough. We're not hoping anymore. We're determining at this point. So although our ancestors did have hope, and many say that that hope carried them through, I say that hope just allowed them to be able to survive within the suffering to which they grew accustomed to. But those who took up arms, those who fought, those who said, I'd rather die, those who ran and escaped, those are the ones who said, hope is useless, hope is weak. I'm going for the strength of my determination. I'm going for the strength of making my life be what I want my life to be immediately, right now, and not hoping that someone else has a change of heart. And although we don't live in the same conditions today, many people are suffering, of every race, every nationality, and people are suffering because they are sitting in the misery to which they have become accustomed to, and they are hoping that things will change. The only time things change is when you stop doing the same damn thing and have determination to take the actions to make your life different. Once you do that on a consistent basis, your life changes and you don't need hope anymore, because you know you can create and manifest whatever it is you desire to have in your life. So y'all have a great day. And remember always, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.